It happened in 1999, in a small town in Arizona called Mesa Creek. There was this local radio station, WZBR 103.6. People just called it The Buzz. Nothing big or famous. Just a small-town station where everyone knew the late-night host. His name was Dylan Parker. He was 27, worked the midnight shift, and hosted a show called The Nightline. Truck drivers, insomniacs, lonely people, they'd all call in just to talk. In a town that small, his voice was familiar to everyone. November 13, 1999 started like any other night. Dylan came in with his coffee, sat down in the booth, and went live right at midnight. "You're on the Nightline," he said. "Sleep's optional. Honesty's required. Who's with me tonight?" The first hour was normal. A trucker talking about the long desert highway. A teenage girl crying over a breakup. The usual stuff. Then around 1:12 a.m., something changed. One of the phone lines rang. Dylan answered like always. "Hey, you're live." There was silence for a few seconds. Then a man's voice came through. Raspy. Distant. Almost like he was underwater. "I like your show, Dylan." Dylan chuckled. "Appreciate it. Who's this?" "Doesn't matter," the man said. "I just wanted to tell you, you shouldn't be alone right now." Dylan laughed it off. Probably some prank caller. But right then, the on-air sign above him flickered. And behind him, the studio door slowly creaked open. He turned, expecting to see the janitor. No one was there. He went back to the mic. "All right, funny joke. You still there?" the caller said, calm as ever. "I used to host the show too." Dylan frowned. "When was that?" "Before you," the voice said. "Before they built the new station." Dylan shook his head. "This building's been here since '82. A pause. "That's right," the caller whispered. "They buried me under it." The line went dead. Dylan tried to reset the board, but the lights in the studio dimmed. Then every single request line started ringing. All four at once. Every red light blinking. He picked up one line. Instead of a caller, he heard something that made his stomach drop. It was his own voice. Whispering. "You shouldn't be alone right now." He grabbed another line. Same thing. All of them playing his voice back to him. At 1:27 a.m., according to the station log, Dylan stood up from his chair and walked out of the booth toward the maintenance hallway. He was heard muttering, "This isn't funny." After that, things get strange. Even though the power in the studio went out, the recording equipment kept capturing sound. Footsteps. Whispering. Something dragging across the floor. Then, clear as day, a man's voice spoke directly into the microphone, even though it had no power. "He knows now. It's time to go off air." At 1:33 a.m., the station went completely silent. When the morning crew showed up, Dylan's car was still in the parking lot. His coffee cup was sitting in the booth. Still warm. But Dylan Parker was gone. No signs of a struggle. No forced entry. Nothing. Police called it equipment failure. Said he probably walked off. But there was one strange detail. A backup reel-to-reel tape had been recording the whole time. When investigators played it back, the tape was completely blank. Not static. Not silence. Just empty. Except for the last few seconds. There was soft breathing. Then a whisper. "You're next." Not long after that, WZBR shut down. Officially for renovations. Unofficially, nobody wanted to work there. Locals say if you drive past the old building around midnight, sometimes your radio will catch 103.6 FM. At first it's just static. But if you keep listening, a voice starts trying to talk through it. And sometimes people swear it says their name. Now here's where it gets worse. In 2021, a 19-year-old audio engineering student at Arizona State University named Emily Dawson was restoring old radio tapes for a class project. She found one labeled Nightline 11, 1399. There wasn't much online about the show, but she played it anyway. At first, it was just static. Then breathing. Then a whisper. "Emily." She froze. There was no editing on the file. No added audio. Nothing in the metadata. She took off her headphones. But the whisper didn't stop. It started coming from her speakers. Then from her phone. Then from her radio alarm clock. The one that wasn't even plugged in. The last thing Emily ever posted online was a message that said, "If you find a station called The Buzz, don't answer when it calls back." She disappeared the next day. To this day, people across Arizona and Nevada report strange radio interference late at night. A faint voice cutting through static. Like it's searching. So if you're driving alone, and your radio suddenly switches to 103.6 on its own, don't listen. And whatever you do, don't say your name.